Well, talk about an evening with some of the best who tend to run the best private or public corporations we have in our country, or even elsewhere around the world. And that's a platform that the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana provides. And they're doing that very soon. And one distinguished lady is going to be spending the evening with you or whoever is interested in that very program. And this time they're talking about branding, personal branding. And it's all been put together by CIMG. I have in the studio the Executive Director for CIMG, and Kweku Ajimai is here with me. Thanks for joining me, boss. And I also have in the studio Lucy Quist, Managing Director of Airtel Ghana. And thanks for joining me, madam.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. And you've been operating in Ghana for how many years now, or have taken up this very position for how many?
A little over a year.
A little over a year.
Yeah,
okay, so you've acclimatized to
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so, why did you put together this, Kweku?
Basically, for this evening with platform, I mean, it spans since 2005, when I recall we had Colin Taylor, marketing manager of Nestle, who was the first particular individual and organization that was celebrated. And we choose personalities to talk on this platform based on their marketing orientation. Are they doing the principles that drives market orientation? And what are the principles that we are looking at? We are looking at customer orientation, we are looking at marketing orientation, we are looking at organizational culture and best practices. So we've realized that Lucy has been nominated for the CIMG award. Nominee, not won. And that when it happens like that, then our radar is on you, and we feel to have you on the platform to share a topical issue, an emerging theme. And I hear one emerging theme that our research team did pick up this year. One of it was branding, because branding is becoming an issue. And I feel brand orientation is even taking over market orientation for that matter. And I'm happy she is speaking on personal branding, or branding having a focus on the individual employee, or if you like, the individual customer. Thank you.
All right, and so you're spending an evening. When is that evening going to be?
It's tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow evening,
the 15th of July.
Where?
Golden Tulip
Hotel.
What time?
5:30 p.m.
5:30 p.m.
Yeah.
I should be there. But
please do.
All right, but especially having a distinguished person like you, heading a company like Airtel, and also being the mold in which you are in this very setting, the African setting, the Ghanaian setting. Why would branding in itself be important before we even talk about personal branding, etc.?
Yeah. So what we will be talking about is branding and people, so brand and the people, and we'll talk about who we mean by people. I tell you why branding is so important. I remember being in business school, and I had this wonderful professor, Erin, who unfortunately has passed away now. And I remember challenging her one day. I said, Erin, you know what? I'm going to work in Africa. I live in Africa. We have nothing to do with brands and advertising and all this kind of fancy stuff. So all well and good, but I need to learn something that's in the context of Africa. And I remember she sat me down and she said, you know what? We need to talk. And we sat down and she said to me, Lucy, Africa and countries in Africa and businesses in Africa need branding more than anywhere else in the world. Because what she eventually elucidated through our conversation was the fact that we need to take ownership of our story, of who people think we are, of who the world thinks we are, and of what they think we're about. So when you don't actually pay attention to that brand, which is your image, which is your identity, and you don't actually own it and project it and communicate it in a way that's relevant, that tells your true story, someone else will tell it for you. And when someone else tells you a story, they always tell it from their perspective. It's natural. Everyone uses their own biases to communicate. When you communicate yourself and you know what you're about, you paint a truer picture. So we really need it to tell our customers, our staff, our businesses, the world, what we're doing.
For example, you go onto YouTube, and indeed he has a lot of books. Michael Porter,
yes.
He goes around all these business schools and keep lecturing from Asia to Europe, etc. You get to listen to him. Then he is espousing the need for many of you, like those who head the companies and the companies as a policy themselves. So be making sure they project their customers because customers are critical. How do we do that very transition? Because you have customers, you need to make sure they also tend to exude the same image that you as a corporate entity, as an identity, as an image, etc. would want to exude.
Yeah. I think there's a very clear-cut distinction between brand communication and branding. So the communication is just one, one aspect of the whole brand building exercise. But your brand should really be, and to Michael Porter's point, and thinkers like him, it's about the essence of who you are, right? I am a brand called Lucy Quist. The essence of who I am is captured in Lucy Quist. People should be able to mention my name and say, you say what I'm about and what I'm not about, and people be very clear. The same extends to our company brand. So what your brand is actually the essence of who you are, what you stand for. All the other activities you do outside of that are expressions of that brand. So for instance, at Airtel, we believe in enriching the lives of our customers. Everything we do is about making their lives richer and better for working with us. The same extends to our staff. So what we'll be talking about a lot tomorrow is the essence of a brand, which is the identity, who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in, and then how that extends into other aspects of what you do. Another great example of essence of branding that I like to talk about a lot was the first company I worked for, Ford Motor Company. And when Henry Ford started this company, he was very clear that his objective, the essence of the existence of his company, was to, quote unquote, democratize automobiles. So the whole idea was to make the car accessible to everyone. And that has consistently informed the way the company works, the way the brand is projected, and what the brand is about. It's always been about democratizing cars. So your essence starts there. How you produce the car is informed by this. How you communicate it is informed by this. Same at Airtel, we want to enrich the lives of our customers. So everything we do, we start by enriching the lives of our own staff, the people, by recognizing their potential and making them the greatest version of themselves that they can be. And then we extend this to our customers, enriching their lives in the many things we do.
We look at Coca-Cola, red is everywhere. And Airtel, you also use a lot of red.
Yes.
Because it's powerful.
And for many of the companies, it's always got to be whatever symbols, logos, the colors, etc.
Imagery.
Good. And as far as that sort of insignias are concerned, in trying to communicate that to people, how does that have a place as far as in ensuring you have a corporate identity and trying to brand the company as you would want to, or the entity, so to speak?
So you're talking about the creative expression of the brand, how you express it, the colors you use, the symbols, the images and so on, the look and feel of it. I think by and large that is also needs to be tied in with your essence and what you actually, the industry you play in as well. There has to be a bit of play on that as well. So what we do is we choose a very bold representation, which is our red and white predominantly, which says that, where there's power, there's presence, there's passion. Red is a very passionate representation of the brand. But then it extends beyond that to say, how does the brand actually look? You've got the colors, but how does it look? How should it be written? How should the symbol be consistently presented so that when somebody sees your brand anywhere, the immediate recall is, this is Airtel, and then they say, okay, in my mind, Airtel stands for 1, 2, 3 different things. In our case, we believe we are alive, we're inclusive, and we respect everyone. So the values should come out in the expression. So as I said, the creative expression of your brand still feeds off the essence of your brand. And so the essence has to, or you always have to know what you exist for, what your purpose is, and then you can express yourself beyond that.
And so by way of doing that, you tend to delight your customers as well?
Yes. So first of all, if you want to enrich the lives of people, then you have to understand what they need. One of the ways we do that primarily is with CSR. We look for customers who really need our support to enrich their lives, whether it's through education, healthcare, different platforms. But also when it comes to communication needs, we enrich the lives of our customers by ensuring that they have the most innovative and best communication services in the country. We have various platforms that we've set up specifically to speak to different segments and different needs of our customers, because you can only enrich my life if you try to understand my life.
Okay, and so we know the day is tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow evening, 5:30 p.m.
You're having it for how long?
We should be speaking like 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
There will be an open forum.
Yes.
Then we'll have cocktails.
All right.
Yes.
Quite important.
The category of the participant would be...
You're looking at
Cut
operational and more strategic. I mean, we would want to stay off tactical or, support staff for this particular one. But then sometimes what we do is that we pick the best, practicing MBA students to join us as a learning curve for them.
All right.
But this is more strategic and this more...
Will you be taking questions?
Absolutely. I look forward to it. I mean, one of my great joys of having to when I interact with people, I get to learn so much through their questions. I look forward to people coming, strategic, and some high-level operational thinkers, directors, and business leaders to join us, so that we also share. It's not a brain dump, and it's certainly not a monologue. It is me sharing ideas, and then we will dialogue around them. Because most importantly, let's talk more about the relevance of branding and people in the context of business in Ghana. So it has to be contextual.
And aside that, because it's a topical issue, you would want to look at whether something has changed, whether we can rewrite the brand's book more or less. So we would want to think, and that's why we need the strategic people. So after there's a debate to ensure that we are looking at the future of brands and who owns brands, because there's this talk about the future of brands and the fact that the companies no longer have control and influence on their brands, and that the consumers do than them.
I'll take it that you're speaking from the academic point.
Certainly, I'm an academician.
I think from the business point, though, I can add there that one of the most amazing things we have going at Airtel, I mean, our Facebook page has over 500,000 users visiting, likes, and our customers are amazing. They certainly own our brand. They are there every second, giving us feedback, communicating with us, telling us what's going on. It's absolutely amazing. So I think the brand ownership it's moving into practice as well.
On my Twitter handle, I always have Kwame popping up all the time, and all promoted messages about Airtel and their products and things like that. I just keep... Hey, can you just
so we're talking emotions here.
Absolutely.
And then he'll keep popping up. Okay, thank you very much, and thanks also for passing through. I'll make sure I make time for it. It will be important for me as well. At 5:30 tomorrow, that I will be there. The Golden Tulip Hotel here in Accra. Please make sure you are the heart of it, the center of it. 5:30, and for 45 minutes, I would want to listen to you. And thanks for passing through our studios. And we have had in the studio Lucy Quist. Do I add Mrs. or?
It's fine.
That's okay.
Lucy Quist is fine.
You're British, really. Okay, Managing Director of Airtel Ghana. And please make sure you book that very date, tomorrow 5:30, Golden Tulip Hotel, and listen to her about branding. And we've also had in the studio Kwabena Agyemang. Okay. And Kwabena Agyemang is the Executive Director for the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana. And thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
All right.